Welcome to Ref Sports. Today we dive into the much anticipated clash between India and South Africa in their two-match test series. The battleground is set in the challenging conditions of South Africa, where history and statistics suggest a challenge for any touring side, especially India. On one side, Rohit Sharma's captaincy debut and the emergence of young talents like Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shubman Gill, and Shreyas Iyer. On the other hand, South Africa also grapples with its own set of challenges, from the leadership pressures on Temba Bavuma to the fitness concerns surrounding key bowlers Kagiso Rabada and Lungi Ngiri. For this show, joining me today are, of course, Shubhayan Chakraborty from South Africa, from Centurion, Ishan Shahane joining from Mumbai, and Debashish Sen. Joydeep Mukherjee will also be joining us soon. But first off, let's go to Shubhayan. The toss is delayed. How does the weather look right now? It is a concern as of now.
It's sunny. It's sunny. If I can show you it, the sun has just come out before I joined this live. There's a bit of dark cloud above me, but right now
Oh,
it's pretty sunny.
it's pretty
Like
sunny wherever the cloud
I'm
comes in.
sweating right now.
Oh, really? So it's
Yes,
humid, which means it's going to rain.
yes, yes. It is humid. It is humid. There are patches of dark clouds, gray clouds. It will rain. It will rain, but right now it is not raining.
Not raining right now.
Come here, come here. Say, tell a hi to our viewers. So, Paddy de Villiers is with us. We did an excellent interview with him. So, sir, what are you expecting from this match?
Well,
Well, they're going to have a look at 10 o'clock again, and it looks like the clouds are. I live just around the corner here.
Yeah.
It might have a little thunder shower later this afternoon. But if they can get the wicket right, there's a couple of spots on there. It will be fine. The boys are going to play.
The boys
We're
are
gonna
going to play.
we're gonna do battle.
Yes,
soon.
yes.
Stay tuned.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So, that was
absolutely.
Paddy de Villiers and expecting some play at least on day one.
Yes, and I'm going to go to Debashish now. What impact do you foresee? What impact do you foresee Rohit Sharma's captaincy having on this Indian team? His test debut as captain. Talk about that.
Huge challenge means, let's face it, means Rohit Sharma means South Africa has always been a challenging tour means, and the statistics are proof of that. Means obviously this is the ninth test tour by India in South Africa, and they have so not yet won a test series. So it will be a huge challenge. And remember, so Centurion, yes, we might have won the first test match in the last series, but this has been their fortress. Means when you consider all the venues across South Africa, Centurion SuperSport Park has been the fortress of South Africa, and it has always been challenging for opposition visiting teams rather.
Ishan, your thoughts.
Yes, absolutely. So it's going to be a huge test for Rohit Sharma here. But I think he would like to prove a point, obviously, after the World Cup loss. I was reading the papers today and he mentioned that, even a win in South Africa probably won't cover up for the World Cup loss. But obviously, he'll be looking to lead from the front. There'll be a lot of expectations on him. The whole Indian team, because this is a quality Indian side, and obviously Rohit Sharma would want to lead from the front once again and take his team to a solid victory in this test match as well. Obviously, there will be pressure, but again, Gagi, we mentioned this. It's about handling your nerves, handling the pressure, and moving on from previous defeats. Obviously, things didn't work out for him in the like in the final as well. But obviously, this is a new opportunity, and if he can put his foot down here and set the tone right up front, I think it will just help in setting up the whole test series, which will help the Indian team. And I think the Indian team would want to do that as well, Gaki, because eventually they would want to, set the tone again and get moving and get the ball moving once again.
Shubhayan, you've been in South Africa for a few days now. Talk about the conditions and how the Indian team is looking, how the Indian team was looking in their practice sessions.
See, conditions, it can change drastically. Like in the morning today, yesterday also, it was around 18 degrees. In the morning, it was around 20 degrees. So it was pretty chilly. But as soon as the sun is out, I'm sweating. It's a bit humid also. It gets hot. It gets hot when it is sunny. So if the toss was delayed due to concerns of wet patches, even if this sort of sun is out for half an hour, 15 minutes, then we will have our toss very soon. And talking about the team practice, the Indian team did not get much time to train. Joydeep Da is with us. Welcome and good morning to you, Joydeep Da.
Thank you. Where are
I
your
was talking.
sunglasses? Where is your
Uh,
sunscreen?
Ready to lose, my brother. Oh, South African fans are saying, "Are you ready to lose?" We don't need to lose.
Oh my
We won,
goodness.
we won here last time. We won here last time. We are going to defeat South Africa one more time in Centurion. So yes, you can see the fans are also coming in, seeing the sun out. But I was talking about the training session. Of course, India did not get too many practice sessions to get used to the conditions. Only one practice session here at the Super Sport Park after the intra squad warm up match. But the Indian team looked good. Indian team looked good. Rohit, they all were taking throwdowns from 18 yards, 16 yards, to get used to the pace and bounce. Prasidh Krishna looked really impressive with his bounce. He was bouncing the batters out in the central wicket. So it's a toss up between Prasidh and Mukesh. That's what the biggest takeaway right now, biggest talking point ahead of this test match before the toss.
Yes, and Joydeep, thank you for joining. I'm going to ask you, with the absence of Rahane and Pujara, how crucial is Virat Kohli's role today?
Yeah, it is. It is more so because these two are not here, but it's also very important to figure out that, uh, you know, somebody will have to take their roles. And there is a change of guard right now that's happening. Ajinkya Rahane and Pujara also took over from people 8, 10, 12 years back, and there's another guard now. So I can see a changing face in Indian cricket as far as Test cricket is concerned, because they have played 85, 100 test matches. They're looking beyond them. A lot of young players have come. But this is a really tough tour. South Africa, in England is all about movement. Australia is all about bounce. South Africa is about bounce and movement, both. So it's not an easy place to play cricket, especially if you're a newcomer. So I see
Absolutely.
this as a change of guard time. Like the next gen is coming through.
Yes, and Debashish, I'd like to ask you, the young trio of Jaiswal, Gill, and Shreyas Iyer is making the test debut in South Africa, challenging conditions. How will they adapt to these conditions? How do you think they'll fare?
Yeah, it will. It's going to be a huge challenge. Means obviously Yashasvi Jaiswal scored 100 on his Test debut against West Indies, but playing in West Indies in current times, obviously it was just the start of the year, and against the current West Indian bowling, and facing the likes of Rabada and Ngidi, Marco Jansen, Coetzee, it will be a different proposition altogether. And remember, the wickets in West Indies where India last Trinidad, and also they played in Dominica. Those were not fast tracks, considering the Super Sports Park track means. We all know means and India's record in Boxing Day Test is also even Stevens. They have won three matches, they have lost three. So it's not going to be easy, especially when you are playing first up. Means obviously this is the basically the first test match for all these players. Means
Yeah.
Subman Gill or Yashasvi Jaiswal. So it will be imposing, because means to face straight away the likes of Rabada and the Ngidi, it's going to be really challenging task.
Shubha, and how is the young trio looking at in the practice sessions? Have you had a chance to look at them?
Of course, and the likes of Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli were having lengthy discussions with Yashasvi, with Shubman, with even with Shreyas Iyer, and a lot will depend on these three. Of course, the batting unit revolves around Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, but you need the majority of the guys like Yashasvi or a Shubman or a Shreyas or even a KL Rahul in this new role in the middle order role. To step up and score some big runs. KL Rahul last time around scored a century in Centurion, but that was opening the batting. It was an excellent knock, but when he comes down to bat at number 5 or number 6, it will be a bit different, because the conditions would have changed a bit. The new ball would not be there, or can be there as well if it's a second new ball. So a bit of a new role for these guys. Youngsters will have a lot to look upon. Yashasvi, Rohit was explaining Yashasvi how you have to leave the balls. He was constantly showing him that you have to leave the balls, play those pull strokes down the ground and not loft it up if there's a fine leg, deep fine leg present there. So a lot of inputs from the youngsters, and that's what Rohit said in his press conference also, that we the senior guys, Rohit, Virat, they will have to give some guidance to the players. Rahul Dravid also said that they are natural stroke makers, but they will have to pick and choose their shots or the spell where they can play their natural strokes. And it is important to understand the condition, understand the value of a spell that the opposition bowler is bowling. So yes, it will be crucial how these young trio plays today against the South Africa in this match.
Yeah,
Yes,
you talk about Bhai, Shubha, and it's very important that this is one place you can leave the ball and bounce. You'll
Yeah.
see a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
balls that will go over the stumps because sometimes we feel you can't do that in India. You'll
Yes.
get bowled, but over here you see there's a particular length when you're batting. You see that length. Anything beyond that length, you can just let it go. You can trust
Mm.
and let it
Yeah.
go. That is something you can do. That's the nature of the soil over there. So that is the bounce that I think Rohit was and Virat
Yeah.
were trying to tell the youngsters. But today's boys have played a lot in South Africa. They're India A toes. Their adaptability is a lot better than what it used to be back in the day when we played the game, because it was totally alien to us, the conditions. Not anymore. The conditions are pretty. I mean, okay, it will not be easy, and also the pace of the bowlers make a lot of difference,
Mm.
because what happens is
Yeah.
when you're slightly slower, then you get a little bit more time to think what to do. Now once
Mm.
Rabada leaves the ball at 88 miles per hour, your decision making time is shortened,
Yeah.
and because it's shortened, that is where the mistake happens. Like if I was giving
Yeah.
you a difficult question, if I give you 2 minutes over it or 10 seconds, so that's the difference. So you've got
True.
a lesser time to decide the right option, and you can often go wrong in because of the scarcity of time.
Joydita, you made a very important point that you have to leave a lot of balls. If you remember Ajinkya Rahane's dismissal in the last Centurion test, it was against Lungi and Gidi. It was a normal 135 kilometer per hour delivery, but it was around 5 meter length, which bounced suddenly. And Rahane wanted to cut at one point, but it just took the edge and flew it to the keeper's glove. So that is where these youngsters will have to adjust very quickly. That sometimes the ball can come in very quickly, come in very sharp with a steep bounce that you might not able to control if you are pre predictable with your shots or pre decisive with your shots.
And also, it will hit you this much above the bat that you want it to. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not hitting. So it's not hitting 6 inches from the bat where the sweet spot is.
Hmm.
So right
Right.
now you have gone 8 to 10 inches where it's above the sweet spot. So when you hit that, your edges carry easily to the slips because it's hitting higher up in the bat. It's hitting higher up in the bat, so you're not hitting the sweet spot. So it's not pinging off the bat like you would expect it to.
Yeah.
So this
Mm.
is the biggest adjustment when you go over there. But like you said, before back in the day, it was people would just throw with hands around. Now there is bowling machine, there is sidearm, there are net bowlers, there are the India A bowlers who are traveling with them. So I would expect them the adaptability to be better. But for me, the biggest point is the pace of the fast bowlers of South Africa will make them hurry, and in that short time, you can often make the wrong decision.
Mm.
yes, Joydeep, I'd like to ask you, considering the injury concerns for Rabada and in Ngidi, how does South Africa, how do you think they will plan to cope with the potential absence of these key players?
No, they will be very keen to put some pace on the faces of the Indians, because they realize that India on flat tracks, there's no better team than India in the world.
Yeah.
So they want to. So you could either win the series, draw the series, or lose the series. So when you're playing in South Africa, and of all the opponents in the last 30 years, even in India, South Africa has been one of our toughest ones. There was a
Right.
time when Australia didn't come and win in India for 20, 22 years, but South Africa, the Hanji Cronje team, always came, beat us in tests, beat
Yeah.
us in one days. They've always been a thorn in our flesh. So they will realize that we want to come, and they know that Rohit has lost the World Cup. He's not Mumbai captain anymore. He's a little bit mulled up in the head. They will want to hit him hard. They feel that if they can see Rohit and Virat early, then they'll
Mm.
get into that, because they know KL batting out of position, Shubman and Yashashvi playing for the first time. So if I was a South African bowler and think tank and supporter, I feel like I see a crack in the wall. I
Yeah.
feel I can get in.
Mm.
It's not the India team where it was Sehwag, Gambhir, Rahul, Sachin, Saurav, Lakshman,
Yeah.
Dhoni. Not that team. It's a little bit newer, and for lack of a better word, weaker.
Yeah, I think Gagi, the
Eh,
point here is that, the South African team probably might not be as strong on paper compared to the Indians, but if you give them even a sniff, they're probably going to come really, really hard at you. And I think that's what the Indians have to be really aware about. And it can't just be about Virat Kohli, it can't just be about Rohit Sharma. It has to be a team contribution once again. That's the success that we've been seeing. If
True.
everybody's with the mindset, coming out to play, that we all have to contribute, I think the chances for, the Indians doing really well are much better. But if we're just going to rely on, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, then obviously the pressure mounts on the Indians, and that's where they can possibly crumble. Because if we're playing away from home, the South Africans obviously have their home backing. They're going to hit the deck hard. They're going to come hard at the Indians, and probably with the batting as well. Even though the lineup might not be as strong as it used to be, there's still some quality out there. So if you give them a sniff, they're going to really come hard at you.
Yeah,
And
and
you talked about Gargi, you talked about the absence of NGD and Rabada. The very first day when I came to the SuperSport Park, I asked one of the security guards. We were having just a banter, so I asked him, "You don't have NGD and Rabada in your 11?" He just said me, and that was before South Africa's first training session. He said, "You think Rabada and NGD are injured? They are going to come and kill you guys." So and they turned up. They turned up for the practice session both the days, one
Yeah.
and a half days, I would say, because the rain disrupted their second training session, and both of them were on fire, absolutely on fire.
it
Shubhayan,
seems
what's the
like
story? What's the story with the color of that bucket hat you're wearing?
That's a green color. I just bought it from one of the stalls here because it was a bit sunny, so I thought I might have to protect my forehead.
get some for us as well.
You're
Oh,
not.
of course.
They're not selling blue ones.
Not that I saw. So it's mostly South
Okay.
African jersey, a couple of Indian flags outside, and yes, mostly South African jerseys.
It's suiting you, though, Shubham.
Color,
It's suiting you.
color it blue tonight.
Last time we
He's
did, but
wearing,
the most
wearing all
important one is
green.
to win the series.
Okay, but it seems like Shubhayan and South African fans are already at it, right?
Yeah.
Even before this, test starts. We also had before someone join us and tell
Yeah.
Shubhayan that they were going to, demolish the Indian team. But this is a question I'd like to ask all of you. KL Rahul, all set to keep wickets in this test match. How do you assess this move from the Indian management? Starting with Shubhayan, why don't you go for it?
I think he was really good in the ODI series. He was really good in the T20I series that they played here in South Africa. And he looked good. He looked good. Took some fantastic catches in the ODI World Cup. And that's what Rohit also said. Rahul Dravid also said in the pre-match pressers that you don't require, in overseas conditions, you don't require a very skillful wicket keeper. You can have a 80%, 70% decentish keeper, and he will do your job. The most important part about Kale keeping and batting in the middle order is to provide that solidity, which without Ajinkya Rahane, without Cheteshwar Pujara, this Indian batting unit is lacking as in terms of experience. Kale Rahul will provide that experience at your number 5 or number 6 wherever he decides to play. But keeping wise, I think KL Rahul has done really well. I still don't think that he will keep wickets against England in Indian conditions. But for here in this two-match test series, I think that's a good decision to have an experienced player who has done really well as a keeper of late. His DRS calls has been spot on. Very good 85-86% success rate. So I think that Indian team will benefit by having KL Rahul, an experienced player behind the stumps.
I think it's a
Devashish.
great call. I think
Yeah.
it's a great call for the simple reason that I don't think there's any in South Africa. We can't afford to play a keeper who's not scoring runs. We need all our players to do their job, and there will be not a lot of spin, and there won't be turners whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
it's a very very good call.
Yes, Gary. So it's a great call again, because KL Rahul is someone who's evolved as a keeper himself. So he's done well in the past as well, and he's growing. He's getting better with time. So obviously it's a good call, and obviously with the bat as well, he's really going to support that Indian batting lineup. And on a fast bouncy wicket, you want someone who can jump around, take those dives, take those hard catches. I think KL Rahul is someone who could possibly do that.
Devashish,
Yeah, yeah, I
your
think
thoughts?
it's a very good call. And remember, it was KL Rahul himself who came forward and expressed his willingness to keep wickets. And that is a bold move on KL Rahul's part as well. Means obviously, given the form he was in during the recently concluded World Cup, so the form is with him. And remember, He scored 100 in the last test match that India played in SuperSport Park. He had 100 behind him, but that was opening the batting. And remember, he has scored hundreds in England, in Australia, in South Africa. So KL Rahul means given his technique and he is definitely a safe bet to go ahead with ahead of KS Bharat. And I think with KL Rahul now batting at number 5 or 6, it adds more balance to the side, more flexibility to the side. Remember, we bat very deep now. Means if the Indian team management go ahead with Shardul Thakur, we bat as deep as number 9, and that is very good, ominous for India.
And
Yeah,
also on this note, I think this might be a long-term arrangement as well. I don't see this as a short-term arrangement unless Rishabh Pant comes back. He's the only person I can think of who can come back. If he's back to his mojo, then he is the guy who can say that I'll walk into the team. I don't see any red ball keeper right now who can say that I'll topple KL, because with KL playing, firstly, firstly he's playing in the middle order. So even if he's kept wickets for 1 day and a half or 2 days, it's not a problem. He's got enough rest. He's batting at 5. I love his stability in the middle. I love his calmness in the middle. He's been there, done it. So a player in the middle, especially without Ajinkya Rahane and Cheteshwar Pujara missing, you need somebody like him in the middle. So and as Devashish put it, it makes the batting deeper and lot more stability. Yeah, if there was a young MS Dhoni or a young Rishabh Pant who's come through the ranks, KS Bharat hasn't broken any scoreboards as yet, so he's just about there. So I think it's a great call. Great call.
And to add to that, I think Gagi is extremely, he's technically very sound. So on a fast wicket, you want someone who's getting behind the ball, who's playing, with the pace of the ball and, not playing away from his body. And KL Rahul is someone who's extremely, very technically strong. And I think that will be extremely beneficial for that Indian batting, the whole batting lineup.
well, KL Rahul has his place set in the team, but the biggest dilemma for the Indian team will be whether they opt to play two spinners or get only one out of Ravichandran Ashwin or Ravindra Jadeja. Shubha, and your thoughts on this?
I think Shardul will play. Jadeja and Shardul will play because this Centurion is one of the bounciest tracks. Last time India played here in Centurion, out of 40 wickets, only two were taken by spinners. That too by Ashwin in the second innings. That too of Lungi Ngidi and Kagiso Rabada. So you can sense the kind of domination the pace bowlers have. The conditions right now in the second day as well will suit the pacers more. So I think it's a no brainer to put your Shardul Thakur in, because that will strengthen your batting. That will have you will have a medium pacer also, because I feel that South Africa will go with an all pace attack with Vian Mulder and Marco Jansen as your pace bowling all rounders, and Aiden Markram can give you overs of spin as well if required. So let's see. I think Rohit Sharma also gave a hint yesterday that the role of spinners is more to contain the run scoring and give a break to the pacers. So I think that role Jadeja can do, and rest Shardul can switch in between the pacers.
Joydeep, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm a little. I would want my best spinner to play, but I think the only reason that Jadeja plays ahead of Ashwin is he's perceived to be the better batter. But Ashwin's got 5 Test match hundreds. I will always go with the better spinner, and there's no. I mean, there is no two opinions about who's the better Test match spinner. Okay, it is Ravichandran Ashwin. So I sometimes feel he's a bit hard done by. Because sometimes I think it's the all-round package and the enigma of Ravindra Jadeja that uh, sort of engulfs Ashwin into. Ashwin's got 5 Test match hundreds.
Yeah.
Very few
Hmm.
Indian batters have got 5 Test match hundreds. Very few. So having said that, I would go with Ashwin because I feel I will go with my best spinner. If he was a mug with the bat, I'd still understand. But if Shardul is batting at 9 and now he bats 8 and Ashwin bats 9 or 9 and 8, I mean that's a great lineup. But I think I agree they'll go with Jadeja because that's the way they've been going all along. But on good wickets, you need a spinner who's got a lot of guile, and nobody has more guile and tricks up his sleeve than Ashwin.
Yeah.
So yes, he got 2 wickets. Jadeja, you know, with Jadeja, you know what you'll get. With Ashwin, his class is different as a spinner. He can do things that nobody else can in Indian cricket with the as far as spin is concerned. So I know they'll go with Jadeja, but I feel Ashwin is hard done by every time he misses out, and he's no mug with the bat, as I keep saying.
Yeah, and Devashish and Ishan, Mohammad Shami missing out. How does that impact India's dynamics?
So it
Huge.
obviously will hurt them a lot because Mohammad Shami was in great form, Gagi. We've all seen that in the World Cup as well. He was maintaining great rhythm, running in really hard and bowling really well. So that would really hurt the Indians because in South Africa, like in South African conditions, you want someone like Mohammad Shami in your side. However, we have a really solid bowling lineup in itself already, and I think Bumrah, Siraj, they'll be wanting to prove a point, and these two can cause some serious damage even in these conditions. Bumrah can swing it both ways, hit the deck hard. Siraj as well with the new ball is absolutely lethal. So we will miss Mohammad Shami a lot, but I think our bowling lineup is fairly strong, and we are fortunate. I think we're very fortunate to have such bowlers in our team at the moment who can cover up if someone like Mohammad Shami isn't playing. So I think we're blessed in that sense, Gagi.
And we will not have Bumrah, Shami available for every series, so we have
Yeah.
to get used to this. Bumrah with his comeback from injury, with the way his action is, he will play the IPL. There's a T20 World Cup, so we're not. Bumrah is no spring chicken, so we're not going to have
Hmm.
them every game. It's the time when either one of them will miss out. Sometimes both will miss out. That's why what Ishan says is very important. That's the reason why the next bracket of fast bowlers is so very important for India. And kudos to BCCI with the sort of pitches they've had over the last 7, 8 years in first class cricket, how they've promoted fast bowling. I mean, just forget about these guys. I know every state player who have two, sometimes three bowlers who bowl 85 and
Yeah.
really up there. So the general standard of fast bowling in India is now superb. And that is what you need to do well in international cricket, especially outside the subcontinent.
Yeah, Devashish, your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Shami has been a go-to bowler, fast bowler when it comes to the Indian team. Means Shami and Bumrah, remember, they have been little. This kind of fast bowlers hunt in pairs, and who better than Shami and Bumrah bowling from either end? But yes, true. But we have to move on. Means we have someone like a Mohammad Siraj, we have Mukesh Kumar, Prashit Krishna. So as Jadida rightly said, means with the wickets being conducive to fast bowling these days. So means it augurs well for the Indian team. In years to come.
Yeah, and sadly, we haven't had a toss yet, although the umpires will come out at 1:30 and inspect. But Rahul Dravid came out for a quick chat with the broadcasters and said that the Indian team has come close a couple of times and have played well, but in critical moments, they have fallen short by a few runs. Shubha, and your thoughts on this? Do you think, India can get ahead in this test match?
It's a tough question, because when I look at that South African bowling attack, it's really really impressive on paper at least. Lungi and Gidi, Kagiso Rabada, Marco Janssen, they will have a Gerald Coetzee as well, I believe, for this Test match. One of the bounciest tracks. India won their first Test in Centurion last time around. They had a golden opportunity to go on and win the series, but it was again South Africa who came out victorious in that series. But if as someone was saying, as Alan Donald was saying to us, that they don't have a Hashim Amla, they don't have a Faf du Plessis, they don't have an AB de Villiers who were excellent in that 2018 series. So this batting unit lacks a bit of experience, and when they have been tested, they have not really dominated the show. When they have been tested, they have mostly crumbled. So this is, I feel, if Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Siraj, or Mukesh slash Prashad, whoever plays, if they can really pounce the pressure onto them, I think this South African batting can crumble, and the bowling unit will have to dominate a couple of sessions and get them out as early as possible. You can't give a Keegan Peterson a chance like they did in the last series, and Keegan Peterson just took the series away from us. So Dean Elgar's last series, he will be determined. We had a very quick off the record chat a couple of days back, and he said, "Watch out for my century in the last farewell series." So he's determined to go out on a high. So let's see what happens. But I certainly feel this is India's golden opportunity, the best chance to win a series.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shubhayan, for joining. We'll let you go back. And to everyone
Thank
else
you.
as well, thank you for joining. We'll be back with more updates. Until then, we'll leave you with some visuals from South Africa.
Who is your favorite cricketer?
Virat Kohli.
How much will Virat Kohli score today?
200.
200? Okay, and will India win?
Yes.
Yes. And apart from Virat Kohli, whom do you like? Okay, okay. And